What is meant by eye drop? As you can see in this image, the one person is installing eye drop into his eyes. So you can see the position where the person is installing this eye drop, that is called as conjunctiva. Okay, clear. Conjunctiva means that is the junction of your white sclera and your eyelid. So this portion is called as conjunctiva. So only at this part we have to instill the ophthalmic preparations. And what are these eye drops? Eye drops generally prepared by using either aqueous vehicle, or you can also prepared by using the non-aqueous vehicles like oils. So when we can use aqueous vehicle and when we have to use the non-aqueous, same as in case of your parenteral preparation. We already discussed this point in parenteral preparation. So which vehicles will be preferred for your drug? Suppose your drug is stable in the aqueous preparation, means it will not undergo hydrolytic degradation. At that condition we will use water as a vehicle. If in case your drug is undergoes hydrolytic degradation, it is not stable with the water, only in that condition we can use the oil based preparations. So now your eye drops are ready either in case of aqueous preparation or non-aqueous preparation. Now we have to instill this preparation in the conjunctiva of your eyelid. Once it is instilled, the patient have to take some rest, have to close the eyelid and wait for few minutes. And what kind of eye drops are available in the market? Suppose the patient is suffering from inflammation of the eyes, then in that case your eye drop will contain anti-inflammatory agent. If the patient is suffering from redness of the eyes or any bacterial infection, then we can use antibacterial eye drops. If the patient is undergoing some surgery, then your eye drop may contain some anesthetics agents. So in this way, different types of pharmacological actions are available in your eye drop. So as we have seen, the eye drops are available in either aqueous base or oil base, and it is allowed to instill into the conjunctiva of eyelid, and it is used for various pharmacological actions. So how we can define the eye drops? Eye drops can be defined as the aqueous or oily solution or suspension for instilling into conjunctival sac, and are used for various pharmacological actions like anesthetics, anti-inflammatory, antiseptic, diagnostics, miotics and mydriatics. So this is the definition of your eye drops. So these are either aqueous or oily solution or suspension for installation into conjunctiva for various pharmacological action like anesthetic, anti-inflammatory, antiseptic, etc., etc. Then they are used for dry eye syndromes also. Dry eye syndrome means uh, one gland is there, that is lacrimal gland. So lacrimal gland is continuously secreting the lacrimal fluid, that is your tears. So 24/7 this lacrimal gland is secreting the tears in your eyes. But in some patients this lacrimal gland stop working. So in that case your patient may be suffering from dry eye syndrome. As your lacrimal gland stops secreting the tears, so there will be no lubricating fluid in your eyes. So in that case the condition is called as dry eye syndrome. So in that case you can use the like the image here you can see in this image carboxy methyl cellulose eye drop. So this type of eye drops are available in the market to treat the dry eye syndrome. So this type of eye drops are available to keep your eyes moistened for a longer time. So in this way you can treat the dry eye syndrome. Formulation of eye drop. How we can prepare the eye drop? First you requires the vehicle. So whatever you want to prepare, if you want to prepare a tablet, you will require some diluent. If you want to prepare some solution, you will require the vehicle. If you want to prepare parenteral, you require the vehicle. So vehicle is the primary requirement if you want to prepare your eye drop. So the most commonly used vehicle, that is your water, USP. So water, as we already discussed in parenterals also, our body is made up of 70% of water, and the water is very easily available and it is available at very low cost. So that's why we are preferring water as a vehicle for ophthalmic preparation. So oils can also be used if the medicament is unstable in aqueous vehicle. As we have discussed, if in case your drug undergoes hydrolytic degradation, then in that case instead of water we can use oil as a vehicle. and the choice of vehicle and its selection is similar to that of parental preparations. We already discussed this point in parental products. Next one is preservative or antimicrobial agents. The use of preservative in case of multiple application of eye drops to avoid the introduction of dangerous organism. So what is the role of preservative? To prevent the growth of microorganism in your ophthalmic preparation. Ophthalmic, or you can say any type of dosage form. What is the role of preservative or antimicrobial agent? To prevent the growth of microorganism, dangerous microorganism. However, the preservative used in manufacturing of eye drops should be effective against a wide range of bacteria and fungi at normal storage temperature. So whatever the preservative we are using, that must be having antimicrobial effect against the various types of bacteria and fungi. What are the ideal characteristics of preservative? It must be harmless to your eyes. It should not give any toxic effect in your cornea, or it should not causes any severe irritation in your eyes. It should not cause any pain or irritation. It should be compatible with the medicament and additives. Compatible means what? It must not be having any chemical reaction with the medicaments. It should not be having any reaction with your drug. That is called as compatible. Stable during sterilization and storage. So whatever the preservative we are using, that must be stable at higher temperature. There are some preservative that may become unstable, or they are heat liable. So that's why your preservative must be stable under sterilization. Then various preservative or antimicrobial agents are added in eye drop. Let us see one by one. As you can see in this image, first category of the preservatives, benzalkonium chloride solution used in concentration of 0.02% volume by volume. So benzalkonium chloride solution is one of the widely used preservative in our ophthalmics. Near about 95% of the ophthalmic preparation contain this benzalkonium chloride. Only in some cases when benzalkonium chloride is not compatible with your drug, only in that case we can replace the benzalkonium chloride with other preservatives like chlorhexidine or phenyl mercuric acid or phenyl mercuric nitrate. So benzalkonium chloride is our first choice of preservative. Only in some condition, if your drug is not compatible with this preservative, then only we can go for chlorhexidine or other preservatives. Well, let us discuss what is details about the benzalkonium chloride. So it is most widely used preservative. Why it is most widely used? Because it is non-toxic in the nature, it is non-irritant and non-volatile in the nature, stable in the solution and having rapid antibacterial activity. So because of this reason, this benzalkonium chloride is most widely used in all type of ophthalmic preparations. Whatever the preservative we are choosing, that must be having non-toxic and non-irritant effect. These are the first requirement, non-toxic and non-irritant. Otherwise, if your preservatives are toxic in the nature, it may damage your eyes, and if it is highly irritant, then again there are dangerous effect on your cornea. So that's why your preservative must be non-toxic and non-irritant in your eyes. Then it is available as benzalkonium chloride solution BP and in concentration of 0.02% volume by volume. So in this concentration we can use the benzalkonium chloride in preparation of ophthalmic eye drops. What are the drawbacks of this benzalkonium chloride? It is less effective below pH 5. So we have to take care of that. Whenever we are dissolving this benzalkonium chloride, we have to first make it sure that the pH of your solution is more than 5, because at below 5 pH benzalkonium chloride will not work, it will not show its antibacterial effect. So that's why first we have to make it sure that the pH of your solution is not less than 5. Then it is partially inactivated by the suspension of hydrocortisone. So this benzalkonium chloride is not allowed to mix with the hydrocortisone type of medicaments. Then again it is incompatible with the anionic medicaments like nitrates and salicylates. So that's why again it is not allowed to mix with the nitrates and salicylate type of anionic medicaments. Then it is resistant against gram-negative organisms and some strains of Pseudomonas aeruginosa, and it is overcome by combining with the chelating agent like EDTA. So some type of bacteria, gram-negative bacteria, shows resistance against this type of benzalkonium chloride preservative. So if your bacterial strain showing resistance against this type of preservative, then we can mix the EDTA type of chelating agent. So this EDTA will enhance the antibacterial effect of benzalkonium chloride. Next group of preservative is chlorhexidine acetate. It is non-irritant bactericide of low toxicity and is effective against gram-positive bacteria. And it is used in concentration of 0.01% weight by volume in preparation of cocaine and homotropin eye drops. And the drawbacks of chlorhexidine is it is inactive against the spores, it is incompatible with the anionic medicaments, organic matter such as serum and phospholipids reduces the efficiency of preservatives, it is heat sensitive, so that's why we cannot sterilize this type of preparation by means of autoclaving or hot air oven. The preservative is not used for eye drop containing the sulfates of atropine, neomycin, physostigmine and zinc. Then again, susceptibility is low for some Pseudomonas and the Proteus species and can be increased when combined with the EDTA. So these are some drawbacks of chlorhexidine preservative. Then next preservative is phenyl mercuric acetate or phenyl mercuric nitrate. So again these are non-irritant and stable and effective against wide variety of bacteria. Used in concentration of very small concentration, that is 0.002% for preparing various eye drops. And the drawback of this preservative is incompatible with the halides. Then slow in action, particularly against Pseudomonas aeruginosa. It showing the strong absorption by means of rubber closures. So you may have seen that these ophthalmic preparations are mainly your eye drops are stored in a glass vials which is closed by the rubber closure. So if your eye drop containing phenyl mercuric acetate or nitrate, after some time, after 1 month or 2 months, you can see that this concentration of preservative is gradually decreasing. Initially, suppose 100% of the preservative is present in your ophthalmic eye drop, but gradually the concentration of this preservative is goes on decreasing, and after some time there will be no preservative in your eye drop because all preservative get enter into your rubber closure. And in that case, if the concentration of preservative is less than requirement, then there will be a chances of microbial contamination. Why there is microbial contamination? Because gradually the concentration of preservatives goes on decreasing. Why it is decreasing? Because the preservatives start penetrating into the rubber closure. So that's why we have to take care of that. If we are using rubber closure, then this type of preservative must not be there. It has a tendency to deposit the metallic mercury into the capsules of lens of eyes. Next class is phenyl ethyl alcohol. Then again it is having high compatibility and effective against the gram negative bacteria. And to confer the enhanced activity against gram negative organism, it is combined with the benzalkonium chloride, phenyl mercuric nitrate or chlorobutol. If your phenyl alcohol is having less activity against gram negative bacteria, then its antibacterial activity can be increased by addition of other preservative. Means instead of using this phenyl ethyl alcohol individually, we can mix this phenyl ethyl alcohol along with the benzalkonium chloride and phenyl mercuric nitrate or chlorobutol, so that its antibacterial activity will be increased. Its action against Pseudomonas aeruginosa is slow, and in order to increase its activity, we can add the EDTA type of agent. It is rapidly acting bactericide and fungicide in a concentration of 0.5% weight by volume, and it is most irritating preservative and may cause damage. So that's why we have to use this type of preservative in very small concentration, very less concentration, because in high concentration it may be highly irritating to your eyes, and in some cases it may causes the eye damage. Again, it has slow antibacterial activity. It is slowly soluble and is used in concentration of 0.5% weight by volume, and it has a slow antibacterial activity and high rubber absorption. So that's why again this type of preservative not suitable to those containers which are containing the rubber closure. Next one is phenyl hydroxybenzoate. For example, methyl hydroxybenzoate 0.02% and propyl hydroxybenzoate used as a preservative in eye drops and having a slow activity against the Pseudomonas aeruginosa. So as compared to all of these preservative, you can see that the benzalkonium chloride is highly active against the bacteria, and it is compatible with most of the medicament. It is having low toxicity, low irritation in your eyes, and that's why as compared to all other preservatives, benzalkonium chloride is highly acceptable. Stabilizers. So what are the stabilizers? The stability of your eye drops may be affected by various environmental conditions. Various environmental condition means if we consider the pH of your preparation, if we consider the oxidation reduction reaction, then again some metal ions may be present in your preparation, so that may form complex with your drug and reduce the activity of your preparation. So that's why in order to overcome all of this environmental condition, we need some stabilizer, so that it will stabilize your preparation and keep it stable up to throughout the shelf life. If the expiry period is mentioned up to 2 years, then up to 2 years your preparation must be stable. It should not undergoes any degradation. So various stabilization methods are used to ensure the product stability. First one, the preparation does not lose more than 10% of the clinical effect. Not more than 10% of clinical effect means, suppose initially we have incorporate 100 milligram of the drug, then it is expected that throughout the shelf life not more than 10% of the drug should undergoes degradation. Minimum 10%, minimum 90% of the drug must be remains throughout the shelf life. Okay. Then does not become more toxic or irritant, does not develop a precipitate or color. How your drug will become more toxic or irritant? Because sometimes because of the drug degradation there might be change in your pH of your preparation. So because of change in your preparation, change in pH of your preparation, it may be highly toxic or irritant to your eyes. Then in some cases, because of the chemical reaction in between your drug and other additives, there may be formation of precipitate or there may be change in color. So this type of formation of precipitate or color change is again indication of chemical reaction or the chemical degradation. So that's why we have to make it sure that the drug should not lose more than 10% of its original amount, does not become more toxic or irritant, and not develop a precipitate or color throughout the shelf life. Then in order to prevent the drug degradation, various stabilizers like buffers, sequestering agents, reducing agents, etc. are used to maintain the stability of your drops, eye drops. Let us discuss one by one. Buffering agents. So buffering agent means, for example, boric acid and borax. These are added in chloramphenicol eye drop. So once you added this type of buffering agent like boric acid and borax, it will prevent or it will resist the change in pH of chloramphenicol eye drop. Second is the borate in adrenaline eye drop, sodium acid phosphate in prednisolone eye drop. So these are various examples of buffering agents you use in various eye drops. Next one is the sequestering agent. Sequestering agent means these are the agents that can remove the metal ions from your preparation. because in most of the cases your drug may undergoes complexation with the metal ion, and once your drug for complex with the metal ion, it may undergoes degradation or its activity may be reduced. So our first objective is to remove the metal ions. Whatever the metal ions present in your eye drop, we have to remove it. And how to remove? By addition of sequestering agent. For example, disodium edetate, EDTA. So once you add the EDTA will remove all free metal ion present in your preparation. The next one is the reducing agent, that is sodium thiosulfate, that can prevent the oxidation of adrenaline and sulfacetamide. So these are various examples of stabilizers which are used to ensure the stability of your ophthalmic preparation. Next one is the buffers. So buffers are added in eye drop to maintain the pH. So we know very well the buffers, these are the agents that can resist the change in pH, and these are very important determinant. Why the buffers are very important? Because buffers can ensure the stability of your therapeutic agent. It will ensure the stability of your therapeutic agent. Second one, it helps in the ocular acceptability. Ocular acceptability means, suppose highly acidic pH type of eye drops are not acceptable because it may causes the eye irritation. So once you maintain the pH by adding the buffer, that can improve the ocular acceptability. Once you maintain the pH in between 6 to 8, we can say it is having ocular acceptability, and this type of preparation will not causing the any severe irritation. And then again, absorption of the drug, because most of the drugs are having pH dependent absorption. So once you maintain the pH by addition of buffer, we can again improve the absorption of drug. So in this way, buffers are having the important determinant in ensuring the stability, improving the ocular acceptability, and again improving the absorption of drugs. Ideally, the pH of ocular solution is controlled at 7.4. So ideally, it's expected that the buffer pH or your ophthalmic drop must be around 7.4, because this is natural pH of your lacrimal fluid. Once the pH get vary, the patient may feel irritation. Once you add the eye drop which is having the pH of 7.4, the patient may not feel any irritation, because the pH of your eye drop and your lacrimal fluid is just equal, and if the pH is same, in that case there will be no irritation. But if there is a variation in pH, suppose we are administering the pH of about 4 and 5 type of eye drop, then in that case there will be severe irritation in the patient's eyes. Next one is the sequestering agent. So they are added with the reducing agent or used alone to limit the decomposition. So either you can add alone or you can mix the sequestering agent along with the reducing agent to prevent the decomposition of your drug. So these agents form complex with the divalent and trivalent metal with the concentration of 0.01 to 0.3%. So this type of sequestering agent will remove the presence of any metal ions, and once the metal ion form complex with sequestering agent, now your drug will be free to present in the ophthalmic eye drops. So these agents are capable of enhancing the antibacterial activity of some bactericides like benzalkonium chloride. We have already seen that the benzalkonium chloride, some type of gram negative bacteria like Pseudomonas aeruginosa is having resistance against the benzalkonium chloride. But once this benzalkonium chloride mix with the disodium EDTA, its antibacterial activity can be increased. Next one is the reducing agent. So reducing agents are added in various eye drops to provide protection from oxidation. Oxidation means that is donation of electron. So this reducing agents we are adding in your eye drop. So this type of reducing agents will prevent the oxidation of your medicaments. So sodium metabisulfite is very powerful reducing agent and most widely used reducing agent in your ophthalmic preparation, and it is used in concentration of 0.05 to 0.5%. It is used in various eye drops as shown in earlier table we have seen. Then again next example of reducing agent is sodium thiosulfate used in concentration of 0.1 to 0.2%. Next one is the isotonic agents. And what is meant by isotonic agent? The agents that can adjust the tonicity of your ophthalmic preparation. Tonicity is again responsible for the irritation. If your eye drops are isotonic with your lacrimal fluid, then there will be no irritation. But when there is a change in tonicity, if we are using eye drops which is highly hypertonic, means having high concentration of ions, then in that case the hypertonic solution may be responsible for irritation in your eyes. So that's why we have to maintain the isotonicity, and we can adjust this isotonicity by using sodium chloride type of preparation. So here you can see the tonicity can be adjusted by adding sodium chloride solution in 0.9% weight by volume solution. Next one is the viscosity modifying agent. So what is the role of viscosity modifying agent? You might have seen the various conventional eye drops. Once you instill the eye drop, near about 95 to 98% of the eye drop get wastage by means of drainage. Once you instill, most of the part get wastage by means of drainage. So how we can prevent this loss of eye drop? By addition of viscosity modifying agent, because highly viscous preparations are not having that much flow properties. Once you increase the viscosity, these highly viscous fluids will remains in conjunctiva of your eyes, and because of its high viscosity it will remains there for a longer time. So viscosity modifying agent are hydrophilic polymers that are added for two main reasons. First one is to control the rate at which drop flows out of the container. So first advantage of viscosity modifying agent is to control the rate. So if you are talking about highly the eye drops which are having high flow properties, suppose we are preparing eye drop just by using water as a vehicle. So water is very free flowing vehicle. Once you instill, only 2 to 3% will remain in your eyes, and more than 98% will get wastage, will drain out from your eyes. So that's why we can control the rate, we can control the flow rate from your container. Once you increase the viscosity, you can control the flow rate of your eye drop from the containers also. Then again control the residence time of solution within the precorneal tear film by increasing the viscosity. Once you increase the viscosity, then highly viscous preparation will remains in your eyes for a longer time. Then ideal properties of viscosity increasing agent. First one, it should be easily filtered. Means it is not expected that we are going to increase the viscosity to a larger extent, so that it may not be easy to filter, because highly viscous preparation may not easy to filter. So the first property is it must be easily filter. Second is it must be easily sterilized, because in some cases highly viscous preparations are not easy to filter. It should be compatible with other component. It should not undergo any chemical reaction along with your medicament or other additives which are present in your preparations. And what are the examples of various viscosity modifying agents? Let us see. First one is the hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose, that is HPMC, and it is available in the market by trade name Hypromellose USP, and it is used in concentration of 0.45 to 1% weight by weight. Second example of viscosity increasing agent is polyvinyl alcohol. This is a water soluble polymer and it is available in three grades. First one is the high viscosity grade, second medium viscosity, and low viscosity grades. And another example is polyacrylic acid. This is again a water soluble acrylate polymer and used to increase the viscosity. Next is the surface active agent. These are used in aqueous suspension to enhance the physical stability of dispersed particle. We know very well what is meant by suspension. Suspension means a biphasic dosage form in which solids particle are dispersed into a vehicle. So if you are talking about only solid particles which are dispersed into a vehicle, the solid particle will start to sediment. So this type of preparation may not having the physical stability. So in order to enhance the physical stability, there is need to add some surface active agent. And what is the role of this surface active agent? This will occupies the interfacial surface tension. This will this type of surface active agent will accumulate at interface exist between the solid particle and liquid phase, and in this way it will reduces the interfacial tension, and once the interfacial tension reduces, we can enhance the physical stability. Now in this case, the preparation which are containing surface active agent, the suspended particle will remain suspended for a longer time. Without suspending agent or surface active agent, the drug particle may get settled down very easily, and again it may form a cake, and that will not be easy to redisperse. So that's why in order to keep your solid particles remain suspended for a longer time, we need the help of surface active agent. And one of the major drawback of using surface active agent is potential toxicity and the irritancy. So that's why we must have to take care of using the surface active agent. What type of surface active agent we are using, that is very important, because there are very limited surface active agents are available to use in the ophthalmic preparations. Mainly non-ionic surfactant are preferable in case of ophthalmic preparations. If you trying to use the anionic surfactant, it will be highly it may causes high irritation in your eyes. So that's why surface active agents are limited to only non-ionic surfactant, and anionic surfactants are generally avoided as it causes the irritation in your eyes. The next one, manufacturing of eye drops. It consisting of 4 stages. Let us discuss the first one, that is preparation of preservative vehicle. So if you want to prepare any dosage form, first requirement is the vehicle. So first step is preparation of preservative vehicle. So whatever the vehicle we are preparing, that must be prepared freshly and sterilized before use, because whenever we are going to prepare any ophthalmic or parental preparation, that must be freshly prepared and it must be sterilized before use. So this is because on storage it may results into various problems. Why we are going to use freshly prepared and sterilized vehicle? Because on storage it may goes under various problem. Let us discuss one by one. Preservative vehicle of phenyl mercuric nitrate is incompatible with the aluminum and strongly absorbed by rubber. So that's why phenyl mercuric nitrate is not allowed to store in a container which is made up of aluminum and rubber closure. Next preservative, that is benzalkonium chloride, may be unstable with the plastic container. Then third one is the chlorhexidine acetate, which is slightly degraded when autoclave. So that's why whenever we are going to prepare preservative vehicle, we must have to consider this type of parameters. If you want to use phenyl mercuric nitrate, then it is not allowed to store in aluminum container and rubber closure container. If you want to use benzalkonium chloride, it is unstable in plastic container. So if you want to use benzalkonium chloride, you must have to use the rubber containers. Then if you are interested to use the chlorhexidine acetate, then it may undergoes degradation in autoclaving. So that's why it must be terminally sterilized by using the filtration sterilization. Second one, dissolution of the medicament and adjuvants. Once your preservative vehicle is ready, then we are going to dissolve our medicaments and other adjuvants. So this Chloramphenicol antibiotic is more soluble in boric acid and borax buffer of pH 7 than purified water. What is the meaning of this sentence? Chloramphenicol is more soluble in this type of buffer than purified water. Chloramphenicol is not freely soluble in purified water, and therefore the ingredients are dissolved in this order. First, we have to dissolve the preservative in your vehicle. Once your preservative vehicle is ready, then we are going to dissolve boric acid and borax. Now the pH of your solution become 7, and once you mix the boric acid and borax, then finally you can dissolve the chloramphenicol, because in plain water this chloramphenicol may not be highly soluble. Once you add boric acid and borax, then pH goes up to 7, and then you can dissolve your chloramphenicol. Next, proxymetacane hydrochloride. It should be dissolved in cold and atmosphere of nitrogen and inert gas. So these are the different types of environments which your drugs are required to get it solubilized. If you want to dissolve your proxymetacane hydrochloride, you have to dissolve in cold condition only, because at room temperature it not be having high solubility. Third one is hypromelose. Hypromelose means your HPMC. So in this case, extra water is added as ice followed by stirring the dispersion. So if you want to dissolve the hypromelose, first initially you can take 50 ml of the water, add your hypromelose and slightly go on adding the ice, crushed ice, and then finally you can adjust the volume only by using the crushed ice. So this ice will helps to improve the solubility. Third one is the clarification. It is important aspect of the eye drop and carried out by using the microporous plastic membrane. Clarification means your eye drop must be free from all type of visible particles. If there is any presence of single particle, it may causes scratches on your cornea, and in some cases it may permanently damage your cornea. So that's why your ophthalmic preparation must be free from all type of particles. And in order to make it free from visible particle, you can use millipore type AA filter. It has the pore size of 0.8 micron and appropriate for single quantity of 10 ml preparations. So from this small pore size, that is 0.8 micrometer filter, we can remove all type of visible particles, and clarified solution then available to transfer into the container, and it is sealed to prevent the entry of microorganisms. Lastly, once your containers are sealed, then we can go for sterilization by means of three methods. First, by means of autoclaving, second by filtration, and third by maintaining the temperature 98 to 100 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. So by using these three methods, you can sterilize your ophthalmic eye drops.